Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining me today. Really appreciate it. Today, by the way, is Tuesday, May 9th. Today is Tuesday, May 14. I wanted to say 19. I guess a 4 doing the thing with the other thing. If it's like the triangle 4, it looks like a 9, sort of. But anyway, Tuesday, May 14th, 2024. My name is Brian Engelman. And this is the Agree to Disagree show here on the new American media, because the old American media has failed you. You know that. If you were happy with what you were getting at home, you wouldn't be hanging out with me right now. Am I right? Am I right? I'm just saying. If you were getting the good stuff at home on broadcast news, you wouldn't be meeting with me in this seedy location every Tuesday and Thursday, 3 p.m. Eastern, would you? Nah, you wouldn't be dining in my restaurant if your home cooking was worth enjoying. Okay, I think you kind of get the gist of where I'm going with that. But you can't, that's kind of the point. You can't really cheat on somebody that you don't want to be with. There was another one-liner joke that I had heard many years back, that you can't rape the willing. So I mean, it's not like you found the new American media because you're happy with what you're getting, and it's not cheating because they're not satisfying what you need. And we're actually going to talk about a story like that, an abuse story, an unfortunate one involving Ashley Biden. It's a story that we brought you a while ago, and there is now an update with Ashley Biden. It is confirmed what we thought, and we'll get into it. I have thoughts on this, and I'm sure you do too. So please leave your comments however you're watching the show. Please make sure that you are communicating with us, because I would like to read what you have to say during the show. And if you have additional thoughts on the topics, I like to incorporate them into the program. If you really want to support the New American Media, go to thenewamericanmedia.com. That is our flagship homepage, and patreon.com/the New American Media if you'd like to sign up to kick us a couple of ducats. We always appreciate that. But we have a bunch of stories we want to get into today. Let's see what some of those were. Well, actually, I think I need to click to another page here. That's a good question of the day. If you're watching us today live, type in, tell us, how are you finding our program? We stream live, but we don't really know where people are viewing it from. We sort of do. It's so weird because we have, over 6,000 subscribers on YouTube, but they don't like to show our content to people. We have 55 subscriptions on Rumble, and, we're doing 10x the views. And it's still the rudimentary stages. But it's important to know. It's important to know. If you're able to kind of show us where we need to double our efforts, it's greatly appreciated. We've kind of given up on Google, YouTube for sure. But that doesn't mean we're done. It just means that it's insane to get 14 views on something and then you're getting 60 on the other. And it's insane that you're so hidden on platforms that, frankly, the New American Media spent years and years cultivating, developing, and growing, only to have the rug pulled out from underneath us. So it really is a sad state of affairs. But that's what we're going to do today, is we're going to jump in and discuss some of the topics. I think, once again, for today's program, what we're going to do is share the screen. We're going to kind of walk you through some of the stories that we have sent out on the New American Media. On X, we are at American_media_. So let's kind of dig into this. By By the way, check out the interview that I did with Ford Fisher of News to Share. That's news, the number 2, share.com, and NTS Reports on X. Also follow Ford Fisher at Ford, Fischer. Okay, got our feed pulled up here on X, and we're going to go through some of the major stories of the day. Once again, type your comments so that we can incorporate them into the program. Let's go ahead and play this for you. This is very interesting. Imagine having this job, trying to defend this Biden air quote administration. The more that comes out of Georgia, the more that comes out of Wisconsin, the more that comes out of Arizona. You know, the air quotes couldn't air quote any harder to call this a legitimate residency, if you will. But let's go ahead and start here. This is U.S. Trade Representative. Where'd her name go? Why did that go away? Hang on, let me mini size this. Catherine Tai. So she's being asked about tariffs. It's so interesting to watch President Donald John Trump, to watch him get excoriated, to watch him get flayed at the edges nonstop by the lying legacy media. And then they have the wonderful task of having to actually govern and make sense of what they were blasting just a few scant moments ago.
I know that these new tariffs are seen as more targeted and strategic, but
so the reporter's saying that these new tariffs are being seen as more targeted and strategic. Well, I mean, come on, more targeted, more strategic. How are you going to make that judgment call that they weren't targeted and specific before? But anyway, I digress. Look at how excited she looks to be in this room. My goodness. This looks like a hostage video.
The administration has chosen to keep in place those Trump-era tariffs on some $300 billion worth of goods, which Biden himself had said in 2019 that Americans are paying for. So
Biden had previously said the tariffs just mean that Americans are paying more for goods, but now Biden wants
why make that decision to keep it in place, and aren't you concerned that it's going to keep prices elevated?
Imagine trying to answer an unanswerable question by a regime that is full of bad answers to everything.
So first of all, let me say a couple things. In terms of the price that Americans paid for in the previous era, some of that, maybe a lot of it, was about the chaos and unpredictability that it created and the escalation that resulted, right?
No, by the way, when someone gives you a line of questioning and then they end with right, ooh, I don't like that. Don't assume that I'm agreeing with you saying right just because you quickly say right and you move on to your next point. It is very manipulative. Be aware of that tactic. I really dislike that tactic.
Predictability that it created and the
unpredictability that it created. No, what it created was balancing the playing field so that you're not undercut with your own products. It's called balance.
The escalation that resulted, right?
Right? No, not right. Right? Wrong. In Happy Gilmore, the price is wrong, says Bob Barker.
The escalation that resulted. Right? Secondly, I think that I'm a trade lawyer by training, and at USTR we are deep into the technical issues. The Section 301 based review that we undertook required us to look at a couple of questions. One of them was the effect of the practices on our economy, and there you have our response, which is a targeted, strategic response.
Targeted and strategic, implying that previous tariffs didn't have a target and they weren't strategic. Give me a break.
That is meant to work together with the investments that we're making.
To work together. Are you implying that other tariffs were not working together with investments that we're making? Like, come on, don't gaslight us.
The other aspect that we had to look at was the effect of the tariffs on changing China's behavior with respect to the IPR abuses and the forced tech transfer.
Changing China's behavior. By the way, that's a good time to bring up if any of these green initiatives have changed China's behavior. No, they haven't.
The findings in my report, which
all we're doing is we're limiting our ability to produce our own energy. China's polluting probably more than ever. You see the reports. Oh, and another coal-fired power plant is up every week in China. First off, that doesn't seem even remotely logistically possible, but you take the point. A heck of a lot of coal-fired power plants are coming up while Americans are trying to take energy options off the table. It's a little backwards.
You can find on the USTR website right here. It's a serious report. Is that not only have we not seen the problematic practices subside, in some areas we have seen them get worse. And in that light, there is actually no reason for us, no justification to relieving the tariff burdens on the trade with Beijing.
No justification to relieve the tariffs on the barriers on trade with Beijing. Hilarious. Nice. Well played. Kenneth B. Nice the kitty. Yes, that's Mr. Nimbus. He loves participating and walking across the program right in front of my screen. So yeah, the reporter says, so Biden is keeping in place tariffs he criticized during the 2020 campaign? The trade representative. Yep. So anyway, that was her words, but that's the quick version from RNC Research. Yeah, this is the episode. It's on our X account. Check out our interview with Ford Fisher conducted earlier today. Yeah, we did a special standalone episode. Pretty fun. We have some other requests in for some other guests. We are going to be providing you some different content moving forward, and I'm looking forward to it. A lot more reaching out and having guests. I think plural guests. Okay, here's a good one. If you were following the New American Media on X, you would have seen some of our 88.7 thousand posts in the history of our company. Yes, Kenneth, I do have a call in with Larry Elder. I communicated with him through text, and he asked me to send an email and copy somebody with part of his team to see if we can coordinate a good time. I'm not going to advertise it yet until we schedule it, but indications are that, yeah, perhaps we'll have our third or fourth or fifth or sixth conversation with Larry Elder. We've interviewed him in person at the RNC. We had barbecue with him in Cleveland at the Republican convention. Also, news coming up for the New American Media. We may or may not be getting press credentials for the Republican and Democratic conventions this year. I did speak with somebody today about the RNC and DNC accreditation process. They asked me to send yet another email to yet a different location. The deadline has passed, but we were in before the deadline had subsided. But yeah, perhaps a trip to Chicago and Milwaukee may be in the future, but that's once again another reason why you might want to help us out on Patreon, because as a self-funded media organization, we have to figure that out. But yes, we have some fun stuff in the works, Larry Elder being one of them, perhaps convention coverage being another one of them. And well, all right, we also have several requests in with the RFK Jr. team. We reached a nice level of, okay, let me see if we can set this up. And we're just kind of waiting to hear back. Let me put it down on my to-do list, though. RFK interview. I believe Blake is trying to attend an upcoming event, a night with comedy with RFK Jr. We'll see if that plays out, and we'll see if I happen to attend. We'll keep you posted on that as well. Yada, yada, yada. Yada, yada, yada. Okay, on X here. The Babylon Bee, this is a really nice one. Here's Zelensky, arm outstretched, kind of like, what? The post says, Zelensky says he survived an assassination attempt, and he'll tell us the thrilling details for only $45 billion. Yeah, it's just such a grift. And it's such a shame, too, because if Victoria Nuland and Barack Hussein Obama and Joe child-sniffing, daughter-showering Biden didn't overthrow the Ukraine, and the Ukraine is important to keep in there because that's a region of Russia, according to many locals who still consider themselves to be Russian, in fact. We wouldn't be in this mess without playing Team America World Police. So anyway, back to Biden here. I'm going to bounce around a little bit, showing you these videos. Kind of rolling through this is a video from AJ Huber, posted on the X feed at American_media_. Jeff Sessions slapped Joe Biden's hand away from his granddaughter. Everyone knows that is Pedo Joe. Pedo Joe. Even his own daughter, Ashley, confirmed that her diary was real. So let's just full screen this and watch this. Remember, why is it glitching like that? Oh, it might not want us to play this video. Wow, this is so... Do you see this video glitching? How weird. What if I refreshed it? I've never seen a video not play like that. Insane in the Ukraine. Insane in the brain. Oh, here, let me do this. Let me do the overlay with the chat so that we can encourage more conversation from y'all. Appreciate the jokes and the commentary. Please leave yours. And our question of the day, please tell us where you are watching from. Are you watching from X? Are you watching from YouTube? Are you watching through Meta? Very curious to get some of that information. Okay, so let's scroll down here. I guess I won't full screen. Well, I'll try to full screen it one more time. This is Jeff Sessions, Joe Biden, and he smacks Joe Biden's hand away as Biden's reaching over to touch this little girl. Sessions just kind of gives it a bit of a limp-wristed slap, but he's definitely saying, get your hands away. Get your hands away from this kid, you little creep. You creep. You know, there's a reason he didn't want to have Joe Biden's hands anywhere near a kid. They knew. Even his own daughter knew. Let's do this. Let's give you the flashback here. This is from James O'Keefe. We'll let him explain in his own words. This is important, so let's just kind of listen to it. This is breaking, because the question of the day is, did Ashley Biden just sink Joe Biden's chances at re-election? Do you agree or disagree? Now, in one regard, I would say yes, absolutely. No way anybody votes for Pedo Joe. No way. However, I'm going to disagree because I think Joe Biden was going to get swept in all 50 states, regardless of this information coming out. And I do mean swept in all 50 states. From the energy production in Alaska to the wildfires across Hawaii, the ineptitude in blowing up a train with his Department of Transportation, Pete Buttigieg, in New Palestine, Ohio. The rampant crime in New York, New Jersey, and California. Who in the world in their right minds would vote for a Democrat, or more specifically, Joe Biden? So I'm going to disagree. And I do have a lot of sympathy for Ashley Biden. I really do. And to a lesser regard, I also have, I have some sympathy, empathy for, what's the dog's name? Is it Sarge? The Biden dog? The dog wasn't trained right. The dog's biting people. He's out of control because Biden abused him, allegedly. Certainly didn't raise the dog right, allegedly. Look at Hunter Biden. All the crack-fueled escapades. Somehow getting 51 former intelligence officials. By the way, you're not a former intelligence official. You're always a professional liar. And by the way, I don't care who's running the mafia of the United States. If your dollar is allowing us to purchase a lot of product for limited dollars instead of allowing rampant inflation like we're having, if you are avoiding unnecessary foreign conflict so we don't have to send our neighbors and family members to get churned into a meat grinder and sent home in a body bag, if our government were acting in a quasi-responsible way, I wouldn't care about what particular policy here, some energy company there, some figurehead here. What would I care? What would I care? But because they're getting all of the major components wrong, Americans do care. Americans are done with the deep state because the deep state hates you. They hate America. They're trying to intentionally ruin it. Hunter's social media. Do a gram. Do a gram or 10. All right, well, let's listen to this. Like I said, I do have empathy. Joe Biden abused his dog, his daughter, his child, the people of Ukraine, everything he touches. There's the quote from Barack Hussein Obama: never underestimate Joe Biden's ability to F things up. You remember that? Great quote. And let's just hope that there is some justice in the world and that Joe Biden will face justice for abusing these kids, for abusing his daughter, for abusing the people of Ukraine, for abusing the American people when they overthrew the country in 2020. That there's some legal justification, some justice for what he's done. I really do feel for Joe Biden's kids. I don't feel for Jill Biden because she's an enabler. She knows exactly what this guy is. I think she knows exactly what this monster is, and she's helping it happen. As bad as Ghislaine Maxwell helping Jeffrey Epstein. But with the kids, you wonder, are they crying out for help? Are they leaving laptops full of incriminating information behind? Are they leaving diaries full of incriminating information behind as cries for help? I think that is not only possible, I'd bump it up north of 50%, 51%, probable, likely, definitely possible. So let's hear James O'Keefe, because James O'Keefe ended up at the middle of this. He's a journalist, and he's reporting on the people who are trying to run this country into the ground, intentionally, by the way. Is Biden corrupt, or is he inept? Is Barack Hussein Obama corrupt, or is he inept? I think they're absolutely corrupt, and they are intentionally tanking the country. I also think that Barack Hussein Obama, along with George Soros and a couple of other puppet masters, BlackRock, State Street, Vanguard, go ahead and find your puppet master. I think they're definitely pulling the strings on Joe Biden. Biden is a puppet. And I think this is Barack Hussein Obama's most honest term. He had two that he had to worry about re-election. First one, he had to worry about re-election. He said, hey, I'll have more flexibility regarding Russia once I'm elected. Oh, really? Remember when he was on the hot mic with Russia before they turned on Russia? Interesting. Kind of like how the U.S. was with Gaddafi and with Afghanistan against Russia until we were it's so convoluted trying to keep track of our allies and our foes. But back to Ashley, I really do feel bad. Anybody who suffered at the hands of an abusive monster, I have infinite sadness in my heart for your plight, and I just pray that justice will be served in a legal, manner, a court of law, an impeachment, a public embarrassment, an imprisonment for treason, for all of your crimes. Let's listen to James O'Keefe, because all he did, just like Julian Assange, was report the truth. And what happened? They didn't go after the bad guy. No, they went after the truth.
Late last year, we were approached by tipsters claiming they had a copy of Ashley Biden's diary. We had never met or heard of the tipsters. The tipsters indicated the diary had been abandoned in a room in which Ms. Biden stayed at the time, which the tipsters stayed in temporarily after Ms. Biden departed the room. The tipsters indicated that the diary included explosive allegations against then-candidate Joe Biden. The tipsters indicated that they were negotiating with a different media outlet for the payment of monies for the diary. The tipsters were represented by attorneys who handled the negotiations with Project. The claims provided to us, as journalists do. We took steps to corroborate the authenticity of the diary. Today, we made the ethical decision that because, in part, we could not determine if the diary was real, the diary in fact belonged to Ashley Biden, or if the contents of the diary occurred, we could not publish the diary and any part thereof. We attempted to return the diary to an attorney representing Ms. Biden, but that attorney refused to authenticate it. Project Veritas gave the diary to law enforcement to ensure it could be returned to its rightful owner. We never published it. Now, Ms. Biden's father's Department of Justice, specifically the United States Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York, appears to be investigating the situation, claiming the diary was stolen. We don't know what it was, but it begs the question. In what world is the alleged theft of a diary investigated by the president's FBI and his Department of Justice?
Imagine that, using the Department of Justice and the Federal Bureau of Investigation to try to track down a diary that incriminates a man for inappropriately showering with his daughter and probably molesting her. In her words, that she was probably molested. She would wait until odd hours of the night so that she could avoid the potentiality of her starting a shower that he would walk in on and touch her, and God knows what else he was doing in there. I don't want to think about that. The penalty for abusing a family member, a innocent child, should be a swift death penalty. The innocence that's robbed and destroyed in moments of abuse like that are something that cannot be taken lightly. And is this a personal family matter? In some ways, yes. But in some other ways, this person trying to be the leader of the free world after overthrowing Trump in a coup in 2020, yeah, we can call it a coup. Well, you can call it a fair and free election. You can go to cisa.gov/rumor control for countervailing views on elections. But what do you call it when 6 states magically pause with Trump up hundreds of thousands of votes in a clear-cut landslide cakewalk re-election? And then suddenly, over however long it takes, the perfect magical amount of votes are located. We're seeing all of the election shenanigans unraveled in Georgia, Wisconsin, Arizona, Pennsylvania, over and over and over. And I'm telling you, the Democrats, their lawfare campaign could not have backfired any more gloriously. President Trump is campaigning in New Jersey. 60 to 100,000 people going to see him. New Jersey's in play, people. New York is in play. That New York doesn't want their country invaded by illegal aliens. Unvetted people committing crimes who have no desire to assimilate, learn the culture, and be productive members of society. People that want to keep their own language, they want to break their laws to get here, and they just have their hand out looking for freebies. New Yorkers don't want that. So the lawfare campaign against President Trump might have backfired. So anyway, James O'Keefe is saying, look, we couldn't authenticate this, and we tried to return it. But how interesting that the FBI and Department of Justice are trying to cover up a pedo, almost like it's Epstein Island 2.0. How damned disgusting.
A diary. This federal investigation smashed. Veritas never threatened or engaged in any illegal conduct. Should the Southern District of New York try to take away our First Amendment rights and uncover and publish newsworthy stories without government intimidation, be assured, Project Veritas will not back down.
I mean, you want me on that wall, you need me on that wall. You want me on that wall, you need me on that wall. What movie is that from? But that's like James O'Keefe. Like, who's going to be at the tip of the spear? Who's going to be standing up and fighting these fights? Because if we don't exercise these rights, they atrophy. There is an aggressive effort to silence and shut down independent media in 2024. And if we don't help each other, if we don't share each other's stories, if we don't defend each other in the court of public opinion, well, at first they came for James O'Keefe, but I'm not James O'Keefe, so I said nothing. And then they came for me.
Nothing stops at Project Veritas. Let me be clear. Our mission is to serve the public's right to know by illuminating, revealing, exposing information others wish to hide for the wrong reasons. To quote Lord Acton, we believe everything kept in secret degenerates. We don't mislead or conceal. We investigate the information.
And by the way, concealing and hiding information, the same stuff that 51 intelligence of active, let's just assume any former, it's like a Marine. You don't call someone a former Marine. You're always a Marine. Once a Marine, always a Marine. I think once you're in the intelligence services, and by the way, aren't there any good people at the NSA, at the CIA, at the FBI? Aren't there any good people left hidden in the ranks anywhere that can take the trash out? You know who the trash are. The ones that are absolutely abusing and using our foundational governing documents as toilet paper. Isn't there anyone at these departments that could stand up for what's right and stage a coup of the people who are violating the civil rights of Americans every day and hold those people accountable?
Sometimes, as was the case here, after we investigate, we decide not to publish a news story. But Project Veritas will run from nothing, and we will hide from nothing. We exist for the very purpose of discovering and revealing the truth, and hope to make the world a more transparent place.
And yes, in the efforts of transparency, Kenneth is asking, yeah, but the people at these agencies have bosses. Yeah, and when you have a coup in 2020 leading to Joe Biden in the most free and fair election in the history of mankind, the only election that has never been victim to any sort of widespread election interference that would have led to a change in the overall vote. I'm saying this under duress. Go to cisa.gov/rumor control for countervailing views. You can go to cdc.gov/vaccines as well if we discuss the vaccine issue on top of it. But yeah, they have bosses, and those are the figureheads. Those people should theoretically be the easiest ones to throw under the bus, point the camera at, and take out legally, to catch them in the act violating our rights. They should be the easiest ones to catch.
Now, this is not the first time we've been attacked, and it will not be the last. We know why. We've investigated powerful people, and in many ways, we are the very tip of the spear. But we never break the law. In fact, one of our ethical rules is to act as if there are 12 jurors on our shoulders all the time. And that truth, and the truth, will vindicate us. When the FBI in the Southern District of New York seized reporters' notebooks, it is not just an attack on Project Veritas. It is an attack on every American and our sacred right to free speech and a free press. The First Amendment is first for a reason. It guarantees all the other rights that follow. Because it's all about accountability. Without accountability, freedom itself is an illusion. So the great question is this an indicator in the direction that America is going? We've gone far beyond the point of partisan politics in this country. They ask us to focus on our divisions. They don't ask us to focus on the things which unite us. What unites us is so much more powerful than what's us. The First Amendment doesn't just matter to people on one side. It matters to people on all sides.
All sides.
That is why I'm calling on all Americans, and especially all journalists, to stand with us for the right to free speech and the free press, and to send a message that the politics of fear will not prevail in the United States of America.
I mean, I'll tell you straight up, there's not much of a country left to defend if you don't have our First Amendment rights. First Amendment, say what you want, believe what you want. Second Amendment, don't get in my way. Don't stop me from saying and believing what I want. It's really that simple. It's that clean cut in America. So let me read you this. This is linked underneath. I'll go ahead and share this at American_media_. This is from Liberacat Media, April 8th, 2024. Is this the actual document? It's purporting to be filed on the 25th of April. This appears to be Ashley Biden confirming that her diary is real. Open to fact check if this document is not accurate. But it says, "Dear Chief Judge Swain, I am deeply saddened that I even have to write this letter because my personal private journal was stolen and sold for profit. The point of the theft, I assume, was to be able to peddle grotesque lies by distorting my stream of consciousness thoughts." Oh, so she's actually kind of hedging her comments there, trying to almost make it sound like she didn't mean what she meant. The reason I have decided to not attend tomorrow's sentencing in person of the person that allegedly took the diary and tried to sell it, sold it. The reason she decided not to attend the sentencing in person is because it would only increase her pain. Nonetheless, I write to ask Your Honor to sentence the defendant to time in prison. The defendant's actions constitute one of the most heinous forms of bullying. Oh, bullying. Not to mention a complete violation of my privacy and personal dignity. Well, you gave that to the public by leaving it in a hotel at a halfway house. You kind of forfeited it. Just like Hunter Biden with his laptops that 51 intelligence officials lied to your face through MSNBC and CNN and Fox and ABC and CBS, and you believed it. Some of you believed it, even though you knew, I think a lot of you knew it was real, but you believed it. Did Hunter leave his laptop? And I think there's more than one, by the way. But did he leave it behind as a cry for help? Because he's wrapped up in the middle of something and he's trying to expose it and he doesn't want to. I don't know. Maybe it's a subconscious call for help. Anyway, Ashley continues. After being the victim of a crime in my 20s, I developed PTSD. The journal that was stolen was part of my efforts to heal. I am a private citizen, targeted only because my father happened to be running to be president. In other words, the extensive work I've done to move past my trauma was undone by Mrs. Harris's actions. So she's even here trying to say, well, something happened to me in my 20s. She's really trying to distance herself from validating the fact that there were inappropriate showers with her father. She worked really hard, really diligently to avoid him knowing that she was in the shower because she feared that he would come in and join her in her shower. And she said that she was hypersexualized and probably molested. Her words in that diary that she's referencing as real and stream of consciousness. But she's still trying to say, yeah, Showergate. We'll call this Showergate. An effort to heal. And it's only happening because my father happens to be running for president. So, in other words, the extensive work I've done to move past my trauma was undone by Mrs. Harris's actions. The defendant's actions created a constant environment of anxiety, fear, and intimidation in which my innermost thoughts are constantly distorted and manipulated. No, you said what you said. It was pretty clear. And Ashley, may I be so bold as to go out on a limb here? But dare I try to speak for humanity and Americans in general by saying, I'm fairly certain that America has your back. Americans, decent humans, feel awful to hear about what happened to you at the hands of Joe Biden. Where I think you're going to lose a lot of us is if you're going to go all Jill Biden-y and start enabling him, trying to muddy the truth, trying to dance around and say, I didn't say what I said, except that I did say exactly what I said, except for the times that I didn't, and that's out of proportion. And I'm trying to heal, but now this is out there, now it's tough on me. Instead of, wow, we get to take a child abuser out. How wonderful. Is there anything more despised in a prison than an abuser of a kid? Understanding that family defending family is kind of a knee-jerk reaction. It's a reflexive endeavor. But to try to look out for an abuser and try to help them abuse other people moving forward, you kind of lose us. That's double speak indeed, Kenneth. Yeah, Jill, his former babysitter, Biden. Exactly. Handler. Anyway, let me plow through this. Although the criminal act happened more than 3 years ago because of the publicity it drew, exactly as Miss Harris intended, I am constantly re-traumatized by it. Well, once again, this reminds me of all these protesters on college campuses. Rabble, rabble, rabble. Rabble, rabble, rabble. We're so upset about a thing. Down with Israel, intifada, from the river to the sea, get rid of them all. Where's the energy for the people in Hamas that butchered 1,200 on the other side? Where's that energy? I'm constantly re-traumatized by the fact that this is out there. So instead of going after your dad that did this, you're going after the girl that exposed this for the world to know so that Joe Biden can't harm anything else. It's a weird coping mechanism. It's a weird victim abuser relationship. It's not uncommon, but it's sad. It's sad. You don't have angry college girls with their faces wrapped up screaming at Hamas for starting a war. And Ashley Biden, she's not here yelling at her dad for putting her through all this. She's kind of running cover for him, it seems. I'm not going to be mad at Ashley Biden because she's the victim here. But at some point, victims have to actually participate in cleaning up the streets. You got a kid and you think he did something really bad, and it turns out he did do something really bad, and you found said evidence. To protect this from happening again to somebody, other innocent person, you kind of have some sort of obligation to humanity. Not to your family, not to a monster, but to humanity. Anyway, I will forever have to deal with the fact that my personal journal can be viewed online. Repeatedly, I hear others grossly misinterpret my once private writings and lob false accusations that defame my character. No, that's not about you and your character. It's about the person that hurt you, Ashley. Sorry, not to yell at you because you're the victim here. I have great sympathy, empathy for that component of things. Not for you trying to run cover for the guy that hurt you. Because trust me, ask America. We're in a world of hurt because this guy isn't behind bars. Repeatedly, I hear others grossly misinterpret my once private writings and lob false accusations that defame my character and those of the people I love. Her actions were not only re-traumatizing to me, but constituted a horrific trauma in and of themselves. This ongoing harm is a direct result of Mrs. Harris's intentional actions. I'm sorry, Ms. Harris, MS. No. This isn't because of Miss Harris. This is because of your dad harming you. Joe Biden harming you. In America suffering through all of the damage caused by Joe Biden. Whereas if maybe this guy were put in jail a long time ago, maybe he wouldn't be harming America today. So that's where I split from having sympathy, empathy to what the hell? I ask your honor to sentence Miss Harris due time in prison, followed by a lengthy probation. She should be held accountable for what she's done. Not only did she demonstrate a complete lack of morality, but she lacks any respect for the rule of law as well. Among other things, she has failed to appear in court 12 times. What are you even why are you talking about her in court 12 times? I don't know, complete lack of morality. I'd say defending a child harmer is kind of a lack of moral character. See, that this is where it's like when the Democrats would trot out a Gold Star family member, a husband, a wife, a father, daughter, a cousin, a colleague, or something, and they'd come out at a convention and run their mouth and get into some deep, nasty political stuff. Well, then when they get over their skis and start talking about topics that they don't understand and they're not offering strong opinions on, they say, "Oh, how dare you attack the Gold Star family member? You can't attack a Gold Star." You're like, I respect. You can say there's two things here at play. I respect that person, the sacrifices of their loved one that they lost, and my empathy goes out to them in that regard. However, that's not a magic. That's not a magic umbrella, a magic cloak of invisibility that means you're immune to criticism. Hell no. And how dare you manipulate me like that? It's like bringing out David Hogg after a school shooting. It's like, you can't question him. He's a kid. Yeah, well, he can't come after my Second Amendment protected rights either, kid. Yeah, well, you can't say mean stuff about Greta Thunberg. She's just a kid. Yeah, if you thought Obamacare taking over 1/6 of the entire economy was bad, let's talk about the energy sector and how that's going to ripple across all of our communities. No. It's fair game. They're bringing up issues now that impact me. I've got a point to make. And if they have a lousy point, I'm going to say so. Anyway. This letter wraps up. My goal in asking Your Honor to impose a term of incarceration is to ensure that another woman isn't bullied and shamed like this ever again. Once again, respectfully, Ashley Biden, your father is the one that bullied and shamed you, which is something all of humanity abhors, is disgusted by. The letter continues, the despair I've often felt will never truly go away. But I ask Your Honor to hold Miss Harris accountable so that she thinks twice before doing it to someone else. She's going to find another diary from a daughter who was abused by a guy that seized control of the United States in 2020. You think she'll do that again? Okay, that is laughable if it wasn't so absurd. It continues, I've spent much of my life trying to speak up for those who cannot find their voices. Yeah, well, you're protecting this guy. Yeah, but he's my dad. I got to protect him. No, you don't. I think he lost his dad privileges when he abused you. I've spent much of my life trying to speak up for those who cannot find their voices. I'm fortunate enough to have found mine, and I use it today and every day to make sure that bullies are held accountable. Except you're not. Your father, the ultimate bully, took advantage of you, according to your words. And you're defending him. Finally, I worry that a non-incarceratory sentence will send a message to her and to others like her that it is okay to violate and exploit others for your own personal gain, regardless of the humiliation and pain it causes. Please send a message that these types of damaging criminal actions will not be tolerated. I thank Your Honor for consideration. Well, you tell me how that makes you feel. Because to me, it makes me angry. Angry at Joe. You're watching the Agree to Disagree show here on the New American Media. My name is Brian Engelman. Thank you for joining us. Subscribe in all the places. On Spotify, the Agree to Disagree show. On Rumble, the New American Media. On Telegram, TNAM and TNAM Chat. On X at American_Media_. On Facebook, the New American Media page. And TNAM's the Agree to Disagree show on Facebook. On Instagram, the New American Media. And on Truth Social, the New American Media. Also, patreon.com/the New American Media and the newamericanmedia.com. We continue here. Talking about the crooks at the FBI who persecuted innocent Americans, needing to be investigated and prosecuted. Actually, am I on my profile now, or did I? Actually, I think I need to go back one. Okay, yeah, we're living on the James O'Keefe post. I need to go past this. Okay, here we go. So Colin Rugg is reporting here now. Is this a video or a picture? It looks like a video. Here, let's play it. Yeah.
My dad has instilled in
Doggone it. Why'd I have to watch him lean in and creepily kiss his daughter?
me a deep commitment to serving and honoring our history and making material changes to the lives of African Americans.
What? How about making changes to the lives of vulnerable daughters who are preyed upon by monster fathers?
Through his courage, he leads, bringing jobs, justice, and healing to communities all across the country.
Oh, that is sickening to listen to. So anyway, Colin Rugg here is saying that a new Snopes update has reversed their fact check after Ashley Biden has confirmed her diary was real in a letter to Judge Laura Taylor Swain. Old Twitter would have used Snopes' ban to ban us all, or used Snopes' post to ban us all for air quote misinformation. That is a great wrestler name. Has that been used yet? Misinformation? It has to. Be a good wrestler name. Based out of DC, I'm Misinformation. Yeah, old Twitter would have used Snopes and banned us all. Colin Rugg continues, Ashley Biden appeared to suggest that her father was a pedo by writing in her diary that he would have probably inappropriate showers with her. In a letter, Judge Swain, in a letter to Judge Swain, that should read, Ashley confirmed the diary was real and whined that people were using it to attack her father. Snopes, a left-wing propaganda fact checker, was then forced to change their fact check rating. They originally said the story was unproven, but have now changed the rating to true. The update here saying, in full screen, the claim was that a diary authored by U.S. President, oh God, that doesn't even feel right to say that. I don't like saying that at all. A diary authored by Joe Biden's daughter, Ashley Biden, describes actions taken toward her by her father when she was a child as, quote, probably not appropriate. This is now rated true, according to this post. On April 29, 1992, there was a riot on the streets. Tell me, where were you? So this is April 29th, 2024. By the way, hit subscribe, hit the like, hit the notification bell if you can as well. Yes, Kenneth, no tongue on that Biden kiss, I hope, I think. On April 29th, 2024, Snopes changed the rating of this fact check to unproven to true, based on testimony provided by Ashley Biden. In an April 8 letter to a New York judge requesting jail time for one of the two people convicted of stealing her diary, Biden wrote, I will forever have to deal with the fact that my personal journal can be viewed online. So there you have it. I mean, it appears to be as confirmed as possible. And Joshua Walker adds, it's weird that not a single Democratic pundit has spoken since this revelation. Could you imagine? Could you imagine if Ivanka wrote about having inappropriate showers with her father? Yeah, I think that would play out a little differently. All right, speaking about things playing out a little bit differently, let's shift gears here. But once again, all you had to do was follow the New American Media, and we would have told you that that story was true from the beginning. Now, is that because we possessed a certain special knowledge? Here's what we do have. We have a very high batting average. We get very few things wrong. When presented with contradictory information, we will change our opinion and perspective based on new information. However, our news sources are fairly consistent, fairly accurate, perhaps the best batting average in all of news. So when this story came out and we were telling you about it, and it was likely true, once again, who was right? CNN and MSNBC? Were they right? Lying about this, or was the New American Media right? All right, so something else not going right for the Democrats. It seems like if it can possibly go wrong, it is. They can't be fingers crossed, hoping for a next, what's the new one? An H1 bird flu. That's the next one they're going to try to, look, every 4 years, here's another flu. We got to shut the world down again. No, we're never doing that again. Thank you very much. Fingers crossed, Aurora Borealis will shut down the internet so people stop making fun of Biden, stop calling for him to be jailed for all of his crimes. No, that's not going to stop it. But the Democrats, they thought hauling Trump in front of a court was going to make him look bad and it was going to take him out of the race. Well, guess what? That is not the case. And you finally see something happening now that has not happened. Perhaps for the entirety of the 2024 political cycle from the Republicans. If there's one thing the Democrats do is they close their ranks. They circle their wagons and they all repeat the stupid lie. That's not about one topic. That's about every damned obvious lie. The Democrats pull their ranks and they repeat it. Like mockingbirds, like parrots. or like indoctrinated school kids being mentally abused by crazy teachers. Yeah, I said it. It appears as though the Republicans may finally be closing ranks, circling the wagons to protect and defend Donald freaking Trump, President Trump. Past President Trump, likely future President Trump. Yes, Kenneth, they are in step. They're in lockstep. They're goose stepping right along with the lies and the propaganda. There are a few people in today's day and age who speak more eloquently than Vivek Ramaswamy. There are certain political pundits I prefer to listen to because I really like the way their brain is wired. I like to listen to the way they think. Off the cuff, written word, doesn't matter. You can tell a lot about where someone is at mentally by just reading them or listening to them. So let's listen as Michael Cohen, the disgraced Michael Cohen, is trying to frame President Trump in New York, not being believed by any. Finally, the Republicans are acting as if their frontrunner is under attack. I had a conversation and told my friend this yesterday that I'm still annoyed with Ronnie D, with little Ronnie D, Ron DeSantis. Instead of circling his wagons to protect and defend the President Trump, he decided to run against him. President Trump is also resident Trump. Yes, resident Trump. And resident Trump is in the state of Florida. Resident Trump should be protected by their attorney general. Don't they have AGs? Don't they? Why is the Florida, the equivalent, the district attorneys, the DAs, what I call them? Attorney generals, district attorneys. Basically anyone. Call the fireman, call the dog catcher. I don't care who the hell you gotta call. The civil liberties are being violated of President Trump. Florida resident Trump. The election interference occurring against Florida resident Trump are occurring in a RICO manner, coordinated, funded, timed, planned, executed for political gain to deprive Donald John Trump of his constitutionally protected civil liberties. Where's the district attorney? The attorney general? Like I said, call in Superman, Spider-Man, Batman, every hen house, outhouse, doghouse, and farmhouse. What movie is that from? And charge Alvin Bragg with criminal activity. Charge Judge Merchan with criminal activity. These cases should have never gone to consideration. Not just this one, the last couple. Not just the last couple in this one, the next couple. And at least the judge, I believe, in Florida with the Mar-a-Lago raid has the sense to seemingly permanently, indefinitely postpone anything until further notice. Now, that could change in any moment, and another hard date could appear, but I think they softly push that one away because it doesn't belong in a courtroom. Why is DeSantis not pushing to indict the people who are infringing on Florida resident Trump's civil liberties? What a missed damn opportunity that is. You know why? Because they would be in the right for doing so in defending President Trump. Fannie Willis, Alvin Bragg, Merchan, these people are corrupt to the core. Obviously, unambiguously so. So let's turn our attention to Vivek Ramaswamy, Circling the wagons. Thank God, Vivek. Also there with Byron Donalds. I think I have another post with him we'll talk about in a moment. But here we go. Let's listen to a little bit of this and tell me, do you agree or disagree with Vivek? Bonus question. How would you feel about him being vice president?
Thank you. I want to thank my colleagues, Governor Burgum, Congressman Mills, and Congressman Donalds for laying out the political backdrop.
Burgum, Mills, and Donalds.
This is a politicized persecution that is nakedly apparent. What I want to do is dive a little bit deeper into what we actually learned today in that courtroom.
I love listening to interesting people speak. Ronnie D, where are you? Ronnie D, where are we? You've got some work to do now. Dirty Democrats and deep state creeps are trying to bury Trump now. You see, we got a mystery to solve, and Barack Hussein Obama's pulling strings. Don't deny that. And if you something, you're gonna have yourself a Scooby snack. Ronnie D, where are we? You've got a resident to defend now. Ronnie D, please speak for we. We've had it up to here now. See, I think we could do that. I think we could turn that into a song. That's a good concept, Kenneth. See, we need a TNAM parody team. Maybe I could kick that to some of my musician buddies and they could knock a version of that out. And I could rewrite some of the lyrics. But yeah, I like it. Ronnie D. Where are you? Okay, but here's Vivek going a little deeper, figuring about discussing what we actually learned in court today. Let's elevate the conversation. We could just repeat tired, retread arguments, say the same thing a few different times, or let's just get down to it. And here you go. Here's a lesson from Vivek.
What do we see in there? First of all, I learned a lot from being in there in person. It is one of the most depressing places I have been in my life, but it is fitting because the only thing more depressing than the environment of that room is what's actually happening in there. It's straight out of a Kafka novel.
Straight out of a Kafka novel. Very depressing. I loved when President Trump was asked, about his eyes closed or was he sleeping? And he said something about his beautiful blue eyeballs and his something about his wonderful eyelids. It's all depressing. Because as President Trump has said on many occasions, they're not coming after me. They're not. They're coming after you, and I just happen to be in the way. What do you think that they want to do to you if you speak out? If you speak your mind? If you defend freedom, defend liberty, defend the Bill of Rights, defend the Constitution, defend our governing documents, defend our history, defend sanity? The deep state Democrats and rhino morons want to ruin your life. They would love to drag you in front of court and bankrupt you. You can't sell a social media company for $2 billion to buy your way out of it. They want to ruin you. This is life and death importance. So yeah, it's got to be depressing. But like James O'Keefe standing up for his right to cover the news and report on things that are relevant. As if Joe Biden is screwing his daughter, what do you think he's going to do to screw the country? Once again, serious compassion and condolences to Ashley Biden. I hate that this has to be out there. You don't have to ask around very long or very far to find people who have suffered at the hands of their abusers. Sometimes even in their own family. It's just a shame that Ashley can't take the moment to defend morality, as it were. I mean, I just expect it. It's sad. And yeah, forgive me, at the risk of emulating some of the worst character traits of the loony liberal left. Triple L score. who want to take offense on behalf of people that are not them. You know what? I am taking offense at what that diary says about what happened to that little girl who can never get her innocence back. It angers me, and it should anger you. Little kids are off limits. They're just off limits. Anyway, back to Vivek talking about how depressing it is.
The prosecution's main strategy appears to be to bore the jurors into submission. And if you look in that direction, sadly, it may appear to actually be working. Now, I would like for anybody here in the press, anybody at home, anybody at MSNBC or the media afterwards, to clearly state what exactly is the crime that Donald Trump committed.
Has anyone been able to say what crime, by the way, air quote, crime, for those of you listening in Rio Linda, I'm doing the hard air quote on crime. Has anyone been able to articulate an actual crime committed? No. Nope.
Oh, wait. We have not heard a good answer to that question. It has been vague until today. You heard Michael Cohen's testimony, after which I would say it is less clear than ever what that crime actually. Well, let's look at who did we learn falsified business records? Get or 2 hours felt like it could have been 10 hours of Michael Cohen talking about how he falsified business records. Okay, so you have a guy who has been a perjurer in the past that is now saying he falsified business records. What is the crime that Donald Trump committed? Now,
it sounds like Cohen should be on trial, doesn't it?
It appears to keeping error or whatever. The real bookkeeping that we need accounting of is Judge Merchan's own family member collecting millions of dollars as a Democratic operative using the existence of this trial. Democrats. This is unconscionable. Imagine.
Can we just highlight that for a moment? There is a concept in the legal profession that is perhaps the most paramount concept in the legal profession. And it's to avoid the perceived or actual tug of impropriety. To be unduly influenced by personal matters, by personal biases, by family members getting rich off of what you're doing. Oh, there's more than evidence of impropriety or perceived impropriety there. That's an obvious conflict of interest. And if this judge chose to not recuse himself, as he should have obviously done, there needs to be an appellate court. There needs to be a judicial observatory, some sort of oversight committee, a New York State Bar Code of Ethics, something. The damn Supreme Court of the United fucking States to step in and say, your daughter's fundraising, making millions of dollars off of this. You're pretending to be impartial. You cannot sit at the head of this show trial. You cannot participate in this kangaroo court. Where are the adults up in Albany who oversee and control what happens in Manhattan? Where is the Supreme Court stopping this? It's like there's no adults at home and the house party will not stop. And that is as serious as it gets.
The same shoe fit the other foot. Imagine if it was Joe Biden that was on trial. You had a Republican judge whose son was collecting millions of dollars as a Republican operative. What would you all be saying?
And by the way, that's starting to sound eerily reminiscent of Hunter Biden serving on the board of Burisma, an energy company that was overthrown in 2014 with Victoria Nuland and Barack Hussein Obama, along with Joe Biden, so that we could get into a potential pissing match with a nuclear-armed Russian bear for no apparent reason. conscripting young men and sending them off to be returned in body bags through the meat grinder in Ukraine. Hunter making money off of that deal, off of that overthrow of a nation. Huh. Yeah, shoes on the other foot. Imagine if it was one of Trump's kids. Well, we don't have to go far to imagine what if Joe Biden's kids... By the way, aren't there 20 fake accounts? Aren't the Joe Biden granddaughters being paid money? Allegedly, according to the investigations into impeachment. You're telling me in 3.5 years you don't have everything you need to impeach Joe Biden? Shell companies, money laundering, overthrow of nations. By the way, what you're doing in Ukraine is a genocide, Joe. That's the term that college kids want to talk about in Gaza. Oh my gosh, Hamas started a war and now they're getting their butts whooped. We got to stop this, huh? How about you go get everybody that participated and get the hostages back? How about you focus on those 2 points before we talk about, I can't believe you're going after him, so tough.
This would not be justice. This is injustice at its worst. So let's go even a layer deeper, right? Because let's go even a layer deeper, actually. The alleged crime here is supposedly, they try to point to this every day, that he does not actually use campaign funds, that he used personal funds. Well, let's get this straight.
Campaign funds versus personal funds. We'll listen to Vivek's take, but when you're shaken down and sued all the time, you settle all sorts of cases because it will tie you up and cost 10 times as much just to defend yourself versus sign a non-disclosure and you make a bad situation go away. Of course, that's a campaign situation because they're trying to derail the campaign. It's an overtly political act intended to kneecap a candidate.
Suppose Donald Trump had used campaign funds to make a personal expense. They'd be going after him for that. They're going to get him going or they'll get him coming. That is the best proof that this is a politicized sham.
Yeah, and that's a good point. Well, if you did it this way, we're going to come after you for this. Well, if you go at it that way, we're going to go after you for that. Regardless, they're just trying to take his knees out. And it's obvious, and it's disgusting.
Let's go through it piece by piece. If you tell somebody to go buy you a suit and you want to look good on television because that'll affect the voters, the way voters vote for you, you know what? They prosecute politicians if you use campaign funds to buy a suit. If they say, go get a haircut, if you use campaign funds.
Hang on, you can't buy a suit or get a haircut? Good luck getting elected if you can't maintain a haircut, although Vivek has a kind of a strange poof of a haircut. Very peacocky. Kind of fits his personality. I like him, but, you know, he's very peacocky. Maybe he'll end up working on NBC. The Peacock? Does anyone know they're called the Peacock? So you can't use your campaign funds to buy a suit or get a haircut. Okay.
To get a haircut because you want to look good to the voters, they will actually prosecute you for you.
Yeah, Kenneth. It's almost like Vivek is using a Flowbee.
Using campaign funds for a personal expense. Yet the entire legal theory of this case, the whole case that Alvin Bragg has brought, depends on one premise for them to charge this as a felony, is that Donald Trump somehow should have used campaign funds to make an allegedly personal payment. Yet if he had done that.
Okay, so he should have used campaign funds to settle a situation with a non-disclosure agreement. With somebody in Stormy Daniels, by the way, who had previously written a letter saying, I've been asked about this on repeated occasions. I don't have it in front of me. I'm going, so don't take this verbatim. But in 2012, in 2015, in 2014, in 2013, and then blah, blah, I have repeatedly said that this did not happen. And I'm not saying this because of any reason. I'm saying it because it's the truth. And I do not wish to talk about this again. And then, of course, then she totally told another different story. Would you tell the court, Ms. Daniels, if that is your real name? And it's not. Were you lying then, or are you lying now? All right, so they're arguing that Trump should have used campaign funds, but if he would have used funds, then they would have got him for that.
Their case against him would be even stronger. This is garbage. That is the best proof that you have, that if they're going to get him going or get him coming, it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. This is a sham. This is not the United States of America. This is some third-rate banana republic. If this were happening in another country, we would be laughing at them as a sham democracy. I am ashamed as an American citizen to sit here in a courtroom watching the former leader of the free world, sitting with the indignity in this dingy third-rate courtroom with fourth-rate prosecutors, witness who actually is violating attorney-client privilege left and right. Nobody's even talking about that. So this is a shame.
Violating attorney-client privilege. That's supposed to mean something. That's a barrier that you cannot break. For good reason. There is no justice system if you break that barrier. Can't compel a family member to testify against you. There's all sorts of things in the legal system that are set up to ensure any perceived or actual impropriety, conflict of interest. And in this case, the breaking of attorney-client privilege that nobody's talking about.
As a witness who actually is violating attorney-client privilege left and right. Nobody's even talking about that. So this is a shame. Shame on the spirit in our country's history, but we will get through it and be stronger, because you know who ultimately actually cast the vote on this case? It's not just the jurors in that jury box. It's every one of you at home. It's every American who votes this November to say no to the weaponization of justice. And if you're at home, you may say, you know what, I don't agree with everything Donald Trump's ever said. You know what, I may not agree with some of his policies even though they were great policies for 4 years. But you do agree, whether you are Democrat or Republican or black or white or gay or straight or man or woman, that our justice system should be binded to politics. That regardless of whether your last name is Biden or Trump, regardless of whether you've been a politician or not, you get a fair shake in our own legal system. And when you have a prosecutor who can't...
And this just does not feel like a fair shake. It feels like the fix is in. It's just a show trial. What's that famous quote? Show me the man and I'll show you the crime. It's like you could go after and try to ruin almost anybody. And that's not a nation anymore at that point. You're in a totalitarian hellscape. And that's not what this country is about. The reason I think Hillary and Barack Hussein Obama and Joe Biden need to be investigated and charged is because they have been committing legitimate crimes for a long time. Hell, they even impeached Trump for calling out what was happening in the Ukraine. Exposing money laundering, exposing the escalation of loss of life, for exposing how a country was overthrown to put a clown in charge and run an agenda. Oh, wait, is that what happened in America, or did that happen in the Ukraine?
And when you have a prosecutor who campaigned on the pledge of going after Trump and then keeps his campaign pledge, when you have a judge whose kids are collecting money from Democratic operatives by fundraising off the very trial that judge is presiding over, and then telling the U.S. president that he's subject to a gag order, that he can't talk about it, that is not justice. That is a bastardization of what this country was founded on. And I'm here, and all of us are here as friends of Donald Trump, supporting him, our personal capacity, sharing our opinions. That's why we're here today. But I hope every American at home who isn't able to be in that courtroom is able to see what's actually happening there. And when you do, we will have a landslide of historic proportion this November if every American understands the injustice that's playing out in that courtroom today. So may God bless our country. I pray for our future, and let's pray for our country being stronger on the other side of this disgusting sham prosecution. Doug?
Well said, Vivek. Well said. It's about damn time you get the Republicans out there providing good information, defending President Trump. It's about damn time. Good for him. I swear, that party looks like it would be potentially helpless without him. I mean, if Vivek isn't out there doing what he's doing, who is doing anything of value? Thomas Massey? Rand Paul? I mean, you got a handful or two of people. Byron Donalds is good. Oh, that's what happened. I clicked past that. Okay. Good for Vivek. You get a gold star for the day. What is this? Carnival, the world's largest cruise company, is saying that 100% of its ships across its global fleet are now equipped with SpaceX's global Starlink internet. I mean, hey, Starlink has been a game changer. We've already seen a surge in guest satisfaction. Yeah, that is weird when you don't have service. You feel really weird and uneasy, especially out to sea. And I haven't been on a lot of boats, but I've been on a couple. Thank you for watching the Agree to Disagree show as we see it here. Going through some more news of the day. Yeah, Mike Johnson, Doug Burgum, Byron Donalds, Corey Mills, Eric Trump, Laura Trump. The gag order has to come off. There's never been anything like this in our country. It's a scam. It's reposted from Benny Johnson. This is an 8-minute clip, so I'm not going to play you the 8 minutes of it. But Trump speaking ahead of the Cohen testimony. All right, here's a good one from Kyle Becker reporting. House GOP oversight is recommending Attorney General Merrick Garland be held in contempt of Congress. Now, there's good news, except this should have happened 3 years ago. 118th Congress, second session, Report 118 from the House of Representatives. Resolution recommending that the House of Representatives find United States Attorney General Merrick B. Garland in contempt of Congress. What's his middle name? B. B as in B. Resolution recommending that the House of Representatives find United States Attorney General Merrick B. Garland in contempt of Congress for refusal to comply with subpoena duly issued by the Committee on Oversight and Accountability. Mr. Comer. Yeah, he's one that's doing good work. James Comer from the Committee on Oversight and Accountability. Having considered the report, reports favorably thereon and recommends that the report be approved. Resolved that Merrick B. Garland, Attorney General, U.S. Department of Justice, shall be found to be in contempt of Congress for failure to comply with a congressional subpoena. Pursuant to 2 U.S. Code 192-194, the Speaker of the House of Representatives shall certify the report of the Oversight Committee detailing the refusal of Merrick Garland, Attorney General, to produce documents, records, and materials to the Oversight Committee as directed by subpoena to the United States Attorney for the District of Columbia, to the end that Attorney General Merrick Garland be proceeded against in the manner and form provided by law. Resolved that the Speaker of the House shall otherwise take all appropriate action to enforce the subpoena. Yeah, any day you can charge Merrick Garland with his treason. That's a good day, and that's an opportunity that you take. Here's a good reminder to go check out this show from earlier on the Agree to Disagree show, where we spoke with Ford Fisher of News to Share about the college encampments. We were unpacking encampments. A good conversation as usual. So Joe Rambo here is saying that Trump's latest campaign rally just moments ago outside of the courtroom in New York City, quote, 4 straight weeks of them trying to make sure I can't complain. Laughing emoji. Y'all do realize he is literally campaigning right now. This is the campaign. Welcome to the exposure campaign. Shown, not told. It will be easier to do what must be done because everyone will agree with us. So the reaction to this, of course, Brian Cates, I literally watched an ABC News legal analyst wail in frustration that Trump was being, quote, allowed to campaign while he was on trial. Their tears are delicious. Brian Cates continues, has everyone figured out why this trial isn't on TV? Yeah, why is this not on TV? He continues, I guarantee you Donald J. Trump would have loved to have this trial on television. It's the judge and the prosecutors who didn't want the camera in the courtroom so people could watch Stormy Daniels and Michael Cohen testify on camera. Elon talking about Reuters dying. Website traffic has declined by nearly 50% over the past 7 months. Once again, proving that the new American media is taking a very different shape. Here's a poll that came out. And here's a question of the day. Do you agree or disagree that there's not enough immigration in our country? So this new survey was carried out in March and April of 2024. People in the European Union countries were asked, do you think your country takes in too many immigrants? And on average, 70% of people agree. As high as 90% down here don't want anything to do with this. So why are people being taken and dropped strategically all across this country? For what purpose? For an invasion? For an army? For an overthrow attempt? Oh, that's just too far to even fathom, is it? I don't think so. 70% of people on average say that there are too many immigrants being allowed into their country all across the European Union. And that's what Joe Biden is doing. If Ashley had just gotten Joe Biden arrested all those years ago, maybe this wouldn't be happening to America. There are repercussions. Yeah. Voters, Kenneth, voters. You know, the Republicans are at least challenging a lot of voter laws in advance of this election. And a lot of stories are coming to light that people who deserve no ballot are being given ballots. And I am on record saying voting needs to be a one-day affair, in person, after showing an ID and proving you are who you say you are, making sure that you haven't duplicated. You use your social security number, whatever it takes, to make sure you don't pop up at a different part of the state or a different part of the country voting a second time. Very strict criteria. You keep the paper ballots so that they're easily auditable. That's it. Easy peasy. No need for mail-in. No need for machines. There's no need for it. We can vote the basic way that's easy to audit the paper trail of. That is, unless you're trying to hide something. Okay, here we go. So Attorney General Merrick Garland, shifting gears, has named Attorney Robert Hurr, a Trump appointee, as special counsel to investigate whether President Biden improperly handled classified documents. That was January 13, 2023. Tom says, just curious, where are the findings and criminal charges from the special prosecutor, Robert Hurr, with regard to Biden's illegal possession of classified documents spanning decades, including sharing them with Hunter for his use in drafting foreign client deliverables? Glenn Greenwald, that started this thread here, says, how many total criminal charges and separate indictments do the Biden DOJ and various local Dem prosecutors need to bring against Trump before he falls a little bit behind Biden in the polls? Are 163 counts enough? Seven separate indictments. We'll find out. So this is weird. Let me just play you this clip. Let's let this little segment play out, if we will. This is Brett Baer. What is going on with this Hurr report? Why isn't this information widely known?
Attorney General Merrick Garland refusing to turn over to Congress audio interviews between President Biden and then special counsel Robert Hurr. The DOJ writing, the committee's interests may not be in receiving information in service of legitimate oversight or investigatory functions, but to serve political purposes that should have no role in the treatment of law enforcement files.
Sure seems like they're running cover for the obvious. Remember when Hillary had BleachBit? Remember when she destroyed her private servers that she illegally had in her, what was it, the hallway closet of a condo or something? Something that was not password protected and was hacked by all sorts of malicious actors. Trade secrets, top classified information given to enemies of America. Sure seems like they protected Hill Dog for some reason. Are they protecting Biden now?
House Republicans threatened Garland with contempt of Congress if he didn't produce the audio. Hurr interviewed Biden for parts of a 2-day period in October.
I'm here today to announce the appointment of Robert Hurr as a special counsel.
Garland appointed her as special counsel in early 2023 to investigate the classified documents found at several locations connected to the president, including his Wilmington, Delaware garage. Her criticized.
Look at that. Look at the Delaware garage. Just shoved into a corner, stacked up for any malicious actor to go in and access at any point. Convertible, top down, garage door open. Classified documents that Joe Biden has no business having at that point. But you're going to go after Donald Trump because the same organization that handles the documents gave Donald Trump the documents that were then said, oh, he shouldn't have had these. Well, why did you give it to him to set him up? And why are you ignoring this obvious problem with these classified documents that Joe Biden has? That is selective enforcement in the most obvious manner possible.
President's handling of the documents, though no criminal charges were filed. Last month, Garland released.
No criminal charges filed, but you raid Mar-a-Lago. This is insane. America will not tolerate this.
The transcript of the interview. Several Democrats privately tell Fox News they believe Republicans want the audio to make President Biden look bad during.
Once again, is the audio going to make President Biden look bad, or is Joe Biden going to make Joe Biden look bad? Joe Biden makes Joe Biden look bad. Don't pin this on me. Don't pin this on me. Well, if you weren't wearing such a seductive outfit, you might not have gotten yourself in trouble. Nope. No victim shaming here. No. The creep that abused the person is the creep. Don't blame the person for dressing too provocatively.
During an election year. His memory mentioned several times in the report.
I could have written my report, theoretically, in a way that omitted references to the president's memory, but that would have been an incomplete and improper report.
Garland.
And once again, I am on record saying that I do understand that attorneys will advise you to say, I don't recollect. I at this time, I can't recall. I vaguely remember something along those lines, but I'm not entirely certain that it didn't happen. Like you want to be careful in what you assert as 100% verifiably true versus what you leave some wiggle room on. So I understand how legal counsel may have advised Biden to just keep saying, I don't know, I don't remember. And then that actually comes off as he's doddering, his memory's shot. This guy's a corpse walking. He's incapable of tying his shoes. Get him out of office. Like, some of that could easily be a ruse and a political defense strategy. So if we're going to be fair on both sides, I'm just saying, like, I can theoretically imagine a scenario where he was coached to say those certain things in response to certain questions just to kind of stop certain lines of communication. That doesn't mean he's as inept as it seems, per se. Although I do happen to believe, based on all the other stuff I've seen, that Joe Biden's out to lunch, which makes him a perfect globalist deep state goon that can be controlled through puppet strings.
Released Hurr's report in full. The DOJ did cooperate in part today by handing over a transcript featuring the ghostwriter of Biden's book. And Brett, late this afternoon, we received a statement from.
Yeah, the ghostwriter talks about Joe Biden saying that he has secret documents, classified documents he's not supposed to have. How does that get to the ghostwriter if Joe Biden's unaware of it? Let's see. Checkmate.
Republican House Oversight Chairman James Comer. He's not happy. He says, in part, the Biden administration does not get to determine what Congress needs and does not need for its oversight of the executive branch. It's curious the Biden administration is refusing to release the audio of President Biden's interview with the special counsel after releasing the transcript. Why shouldn't the American people be able to hear the actual audio of his answers? No word yet on when or if possibly a actual contempt vote could take place over in the House. Brett?
So that was kind of leading to filing the contempt charges against Merrick Garland. Well earned. Although, like I said, this could have happened 3 years ago. Let's take a listen here. There's Sheila Jackson Lee. She's one of the absolute worst people up on Capitol Hill. But this is Representative Gates asking Special Counsel Robert Hurr about Biden's classified documents case. So let's just take a listen here, reset your memory on what is happening and what it's hard to pinpoint what's going to take Joe Biden out of the political race. Because as I've mentioned, I don't think he's even remotely in the ballpark of the political race. There's not enough cheating in the world to keep him competitive with the worst track record of any leader, air quote leader, we've ever seen in America. This is unlike anything we've ever seen, the intentional destruction of the United States. Okay, so here we go. Matt Gaetz.
5 minutes. February 8th, the White House question, Mr. President, why did you share classified information with your ghostwriter? The President, I did not share classified information. I did not share it. I guarantee I did not. That's not true, is it, Mr. Hurr?
That is inconsistent with the findings based on the evidence in my report.
Yeah.
That is inconsistent with the evidence. Something related to my report. Now, that's a very hedged answer as well. He didn't just say yes. But it's consistent with all signs point to
the evidence in my report.
Yeah, so it's a lie. It's just what regular people would say, right?
Oh, okay. So he says the same thing. I like the
that is inconsistent with.
Yeah, so it's a lie. It's just what regular people would say, right? Yeah, all right. So the next one. And all the stuff that was in my home was in filing cabinets that were either locked or able to be locked. That wasn't true either, was it?
That was inconsistent with the findings of our investigation.
Another lie, people might say, right? Because what you put in your report was, among the places Mr. Biden's lawyers found classified documents in the garage was a damaged open box. So here's what I'm understanding, right? As Mr. Armstrong laid out, you find in your report.
And this is not just a damaged open box at former Vice President Joe Biden's home, not just in his garage. It's with his crackhead son. This guy could be bribed and blackmailed 7 ways from Sunday. And he's cruising in and out in this convertible. Any guest of his? Any visitor? Right there for anyone to access. Yeah, Kenneth, he was in no Hurr-y. No Hurr-y.
Report that the elements of a federal criminal violation are met. But then you apply this senile cooperator theory that because
the senile cooperator theory. Okay. As we wrap up this story here about Robert Hurr, Representative Jayapal. Let's play you this one. Make sure you remember this.
This lengthy, expensive, and independent investigation resulted in a complete exoneration of President Joe Biden. For every document you discussed in your report.
Congresswoman, that is one statute that we analyzed. I need to take note of a word that you used, exoneration. That is not a word that
I'm going to
appears in the
continue
report,
with my questions.
I'm
going to continue with my questions. I know that the term
I ultimately reached
I know that
whether
the term
sufficient evidence existed such that the likely outcome
you exonerated
would be a conviction.
I know that the term willful retention has a
Mr.
Mr. Hurr, it's my time.
I did not exonerate.
Ultimately reached
I know
relates to
that the
whether
term-
sufficient evidence existed such that the likely
You didn't-
outcome
you
would be
exonerated
a
him.
conviction.
I know
I
that
did
the
not
term
exonerate him.
willful
I did not
retention
exonerate.
has a Mr. Hurr, it's my time. Thank you.
It's
this
my
lengthy
time. It's your time to try and lie, and you're not getting away with it. Here's another traitor here, this Jayapal. All right, so this is just a reminder here that it's been 3 months since special counsel Robert Hurr stated that Joe Biden intentionally retained classified information. He also stated that Biden was not mentally fit to stand trial. And Republicans have done nothing about it because it's a uniparty. That is distressing. Of course, something was done about that today by Comer. Now, I just want to talk about Uranium One for a second. Stoke Dog says banning Russian uranium imports was a no-brainer for the U.S. Well overdue. The mothballing of their uranium industry was just a national disgrace and totally against their national security. Today's signing just reminds me of the dirty Uranium One deals. So remember, according to this post, Uranium One Group is a subsidiary of Rosatom, a Russian state-owned nuclear corporation. Rosatom is a Moscow-based corporation specializing in nuclear energy, nuclear non-energy products, and high-tech products. So yeah, Uranium One, we were just talking about Hillary and classified documents and her private servers, and she's the one that sold the Russians uranium. It was the whole regime. I mean, they all had their fingerprints on it. Mario Naufal saying here, this is the main fuel used by nuclear power plants, a move intended to cut off one of the last significant flows of money from the U.S. to Russia amid the war in Ukraine. American companies were roughly paying $1 billion a year for enriched uranium, source being the Washington Post. Who gave Uranium One to Russia? That's the Obama administration and Hillary Clinton. That is why the U.S. is importing instead of owning it. I mean, these people, they're thick as thieves, and their regimes go back. They go back for a while, and they're all in on it. They got a nice long strategy, a nice long plan. Well, yeah, Uranium One, W-O-N, Uranium One. It feels like the deep state one. But here's Hillary Clinton getting trotted out like Silence of the Lambs, tossed on a lady suit here. What do they call it? A suit jacket? A suit? What do they call it? What's she always wear? I was gonna say someone tossed her skin suit on. Her skin suit. I guess they just call it a pant suit. But America here, saying in response to this Clinton line with justice delayed is justice denied. We got to go against Trump. Yeah, because you'd be in jail. This is what this says. She should be in jail. She bleach bit her server, smashed her cell phones, and the FBI couldn't prove intent. She started Crossfire Hurricane with the Steele dossier that she paid for. And I haven't even touched Uranium One. So yeah, dig into Uranium One a little bit, shall we? This is interesting. You know, you can find this on the Vigilant Fox and on X at American_media_. This is a report here, News Nation video, about there seems to be a concerted effort to rewrite COVID vaccine history. Chris Cuomo and Dr. Deborah Birx, admit that vaccine injuries exist, and they push the idea that they're small. And Edward Dowd is seeing different stuff, and his data suggests otherwise. Well, you know what? You can go to who.int or cdc.gov or cdc.gov/vaccines. But lying about efficacy, lying about side effects is criminal to me. And it should feel criminal to you. And there's a lot of people that demonize potentially therapeutic options to help people over the past 4 years that were withheld. And a lot of families can't undo that. And I can't even talk about that very much on this channel, on this particular program right now. But we can't rewrite history. We have to call them out for who they are and what they did. So, that's where it's important to maybe follow the New American Media on Telegram at TNAM and TNAM Chat, on X at American_Media_ the New American Media, on Truth Social, because we just can't say certain things on Facebook and YouTube because YouTube and Facebook are evil and they're bad business partners for us. You've deranked, you've removed content, you've deleted files, you've demonetized, you've demonized. You have throttled the F out of our reach. Both of you. And it's obvious. This is interesting. Saw this today as we start wrapping this up. Kind of a lightning fire, bits, odds, and ends here. Kansas City Chiefs kicker Harrison Butker blasts former Vice President Joe Biden and DEI during his commencement address to Benedictine College. He says, our own nation is led by a man who publicly and proudly proclaims his Catholic faith, but at the same time is delusional enough to make the sign of the cross during a pro-abortion rally. The world around us says that we should keep our beliefs to ourselves whenever they go against the tyranny of diversity, equity, and inclusion. We fear speaking truth because now, unfortunately, truth is in the minority. He does a few-minute speech, and I encourage you to check out the rest of that. It's nice to see more people speaking out. It really is. This is a good perspective here. Sir Bill Holt, B-Y-L, Bill. This person said, I think this is maybe something you want to keep in mind, share with some of your friends, copy and paste it, and, maybe ask around and see if anybody else feel the way I'm feeling. This person says, the funny thing is, for 55 years, I always thought I was a liberal. I always loved and got along with everybody. I never judged anybody. I never fought with anybody. I obeyed the laws and paid my taxes. I wanted everything to be safe and happy. Then Trump came along and the world went haywire. So now if I want to be liberal, I have to, checks notes, hate white people, hate Jewish people, hate Christians, hate the unborn. Oh, by the way, here's the hilarity of 2024. Because I'm saying these choppy sentence parts. No, that's not an abortion joke. Ugh. If I say the phrase hate white people, I think one of our videos on YouTube said something because we were discussing what the deep state, they can't take Trump out. They can't get him with lawfare. So they might KI double hockey stick him. And when we said it, our video got flagged and they were going to delete the video. I said, no. I am pointing out the depravity of people who would say something so abhorrent. Then they claim, well, okay. It must have just got picked up by the algorithm. Our artificial intelligence we must have just caught it in the net. Your comment triggered it. That's all. Thank you for clarifying that. They're not very grateful or thankful. They also try to pretend that they're outsourcing things through AI. And we have no idea. We don't know how to stop that. We don't know what did it. Yeah, you do. You know what did it, and you know how to reverse bad policy decisions of banning content. And you're intentionally choosing not to. But this guy who we're talking about says if he wants to be a liberal, he has to hate white people and Jewish people and Christians and the unborn. He needs to fear the weather and the flu. He needs to support child sex changes. And he wants criminals to go free. He doesn't want a border. He loves war. And he loves illegal immigration. And he wants every country to get more money and attention than his own. That's why he switched to the Conservative Party. Not because he loves the Republicans, but because he can't love what the Democrats want to do to this country. Joey Manarino says, this is so true. I thought I was on the left too until Trump. Can't believe the things I believed is fact. We were systemically lied to. Good point by Bill Holt. And still are every day. I watch 15 minutes of Fox News just for the headlines, and then I'm out because the headline always says, quote, GOP does nothing to stop the Biden administration. Seriously. Grow a set. Circle your wagons and defend President Trump, because it's not about Trump. It's about the Bill of Rights in this country. I like the persistence. Scott Pressler. He was going to work with the GOP, and then he backed out, or they backed him out. I'm curious as to how that played out. But he's saying, perfect. Are you registered to vote at your current address? Vote early, vote often. Yes, that's a joke, but seriously, make sure everybody is voting, okay? This is a good one here. Judge Merchan and corrupt Alvin Bragg have been sued. Voters have rights, and these two are in direct constitutional violation of our rights. Let's hear what this person has to say. Why can't I rewind it? Hang on. Double click. See the full case of condemned to you.
In case you're wondering, this is the face you make when you just filed a case in federal court. Shut down the New York Trump trial. Bragg.
Yeah, there needs to be
in
more
case you're wondering,
countermeasures. Let's see. Emergency expedited scheduling requested. Yeah, it absolutely should be. I'm not entirely certain about what this is, but it's the Western District of Texas filing. Well, you know what? This appears to be exactly what you would want to do if you're trying to defend the integrity of a nationwide election in advance of a kangaroo court trial and political impunization. Is that a word? And finally, for today's program, wrapping up, the Babylon Bee. We'll start with a joke and we'll end with a joke. But right here, the latest polls show Biden will need twice as many fake ballots to win the election this year. I have a hard time believing, number one, that Michigan has Biden up by 1 point. All those swing states, again, hard time believing they're 1 point difference, 3.6, 9, 13. 13 is the closest to reality. Trump should be up 30 points in every one of these states. Biden is the biggest train wreck we have ever seen in political office. The things that he's done on a global scale, from Afghanistan to East Palestine to Palestine, to Lahaina, Ukraine, Gaza, everything Joe Biden touches turns to trash. So if you want to follow and stay up to date on what's going on, we encourage you to stay connected with the New American Media at American_media_. As some people like to say, if you want to buy us a cup of coffee on Venmo, it's just my name, at Brian Engelman, Engelman. Patreon.com/The New American Media. Truth Social, The New American Media. The Agree to Disagree show on Spotify. Subscribe to the podcast. Rumble, The New American Media. We're doing well on Rumble. We're doing better on Rumble. We're trying to build. We're getting much more interaction on Rumble. It really has replaced YouTube for us, but we have 1,400 views, 1,400 videos, over 1 million views, whatever it is. But we will keep our archive at YouTube, youtube.com/@The New American Media, but also on Odyssey, Instagram and Facebook, The New American Media, all those places. TNAM and TNAM Chat on Telegram, and then Signal, TNAM and TNAM Official. So yes, there it is, folks. A lot of stuff going on in the news today. And the New American Media covers it in real time. And we appreciate you joining us so that we can kind of figure out what's happening together. When we're being lied to, let's figure it out. Let's not repeat really bad ideas and bad strategies. Let's work together to try to make America and the globe a better place. The New American Media exists because the old American media failed. Thank you so much for finding us, for continuing to support us and watch us and share us. Click subscribe, click the notification bell, click the heart or the thumbs up, depending on where you're watching. Leave a comment. If you go to the YouTube channel and a video plays, let the video play. That's like tossing a penny into the wishing well. If 1,000 of you do, you get 1,000 pennies, and you can cash that in for a gallon of gas. It all adds up, especially when you're staring down the barrel of several $1,000s for the RNC and DNC potentially this summer. It all helps. But yeah, we intend to get you more interviews this year and more access to accurate information than you've been getting beforehand. So thank you so much. Thank you, Kenneth, and everybody else watching live and commenting. And thank you to everybody out there in the TNAM universe. I'm going to sign off for now. We're going to try to keep, we had conversations about maybe doing different content on different days. I think we will do different content on different days, but I think I would, at least for now, like to continue with the Tuesday, Thursday, 3 p.m. Pacific show, 3 to 5 roughly. And we'll add you some more late night shows and maybe some sports shows and maybe some other longer interviews mixed in to the process as well. So thank you so much. I'm going to bounce for now. Go out and enjoy a wonderful day. Get some vitamin D, get some good food. Try to spend your time with some good people. We'll be back Thursday. I'm signing out. My name is Brian Engelman on behalf of the New American Media and the Agree to Disagree show. I appreciate you. I love you. And we'll talk to you again soon. Take care, everyone.